Hi, Claudia. It's so nice to talk with you again. You're the director of Mxima. Mxima is shown in our environmental series. It's a film about a very strong woman. So my first question is, how did you meet this amazing person?
Yes, of course. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I came across Máxima Acuña's story back in 2016, right after she had won the Golden Environmental Prize. A Peruvian journalist wrote a beautiful piece about her case, and I just found that article accidentally, and that was the first time I had heard about Máxima, about her work, about the fight that she had been enduring, and I was beyond moved by her and inspired, and I basically could not stop thinking about her, and that was the first time that I learned about her, and I was surprised that I didn't know any of that until then.
And when you approached her and asked her if you could make a documentary about her, how did she react?
So I never actually talked to her directly. I reached out to the writer, the journalist. He put me in touch with her lawyer in Peru, and there was a lot of back and forth for months. Obviously, they had been through a lot. They had to be careful with anybody trying to uh, get to Maxima. And I think it was about 5 months. And then eventually the family and her lawyer Mirta decided that they allowed us to go visit. And we decided to do a research trip and just go document what we saw. And, we made sure to go in with our minds open and everything, that we just wanted to see it, to see what was going on. So that's basically when it all started, around October 2016.
And after your research trip, what happened then? Were the next steps?
So when we arrived to Maxima's, we went to her house, or we stayed there for a few days. And we were able to document what was happening, the reality of the situation. And actually, it was, they had just gone through there was a physical altercation between her family and the mining company workers. So they were very shaken, and after seeing the reality, after seeing what was happening, in a way, we didn't stop shooting. Like, we came back to the US, and then shortly after, her legal case in Peru started unfolding. So we continued going.
Your film also has very beautiful pictures in it. It's a
Thank you.
documentary that has for me, is very aesthetic in a way. You work with this huge landscape pictures. How was it? How was the shooting? How can we imagine the everyday shooting in the ends in a really remote location?
Of course, and that was actually one of the bigger challenges. Always getting to Maxima was a huge challenge because, for people maybe who are very familiar with the film, she is fighting a mining company that has also gone out of their way to put security measures so that it's very difficult to access her actual house. So every time we went to visit her, we never knew if we were going to actually get to her. And Maxima lives in the Andes of Peru, so it's very high altitude, like it's almost 14,000 feet, very cold, and she lives in a remote area in the Andes. So we will get to the closest security checkpoint to her house, and they would often not let us through. So then we had to walk to her house, which was a 20-minute walk, but we had all the equipment, the food, because there is no electricity where Maxima lives. So we had to bring enough batteries and equipment to hopefully last for the duration of the shoot. And again, we never knew what was going to happen. So there was the physical challenge of also shooting on such altitude, because I didn't know, but you can hardly breathe. Like, it's really hard to breathe, like, let alone follow her around. Obviously, she has so much energy. So that was a challenge of its own. Like, getting to her and then actually shooting there was a big challenge for sure.
Did you feel, because you told us about that there was a physical confrontation with workers from the mining company, did you also feel some pressure from the mining company's side, or did they just ignore you?
They ignore us. What we've been told by the family is that usually when there are visitors, they tend to stay, like behave better, like they tend to stay away. But we definitely felt like their presence, like they made sure that we always knew that they were around. So we always have to be mindful. We didn't know, they could have given us a hard time if they wanted to. Nothing happened, thankfully, but we at all times had to be mindful of that. And I think one of the reasons that helped us was that we were shooting with a fairly small camera. So it was and a tiny crew. So we were able to, be very discreet about the shoot.
How is Máxima today? I mean, the film ends with in front of the court, but how is she doing today?
Yeah, so obviously the pandemic has been very challenging for everybody. So for them, thankfully, they're health-wise, they are doing okay. The challenge has been that in Peru, there was a very big lockdown for months. So which meant that for them to now they had to like leave and go further to go get food and just basic supplies. And then transportation was not was even harder to get. So now they have to pay triple the price for everything. They are able to farm on one side of the land, but the harassment continues, unfortunately. So it's ongoing, and and then we also have the legal cases that in Peru continue. So we are actually, for those who are interested, we have put together a petition on change.org. You can find it on our website. And so what we're hoping is to gather enough signatures so that the company stops the legal cases and stops the harassment that, again, is ongoing, especially now that everything is more challenging for them resources-wise through the pandemic.
You just already mentioned the petition, but you also have a whole Support Máxima campaign, also our own impact page. Can you tell us about that? How we can sign the petition? What else can we do?
Yes, so if we have worked really hard on our website, standwithmaxima.com, because the support of audiences has really been beautiful, overwhelming, and so inspiring for everybody. So we have a page, get involved, where you can sign the petition. You can also donate to Máxima's GoFundMe campaign. And these funds have been critical because it's what allowed her to fund these food and transportation expenses during the pandemic, especially. And then we also have the option of, if you want to share the film with your community, you can do that so that more people can learn about the case, support the case. You can also learn about ways in which you can support Clean Gold. So you can find all of that on our webpage, and you can also reach us if there's anything else you want to do, if you want to get involved. So we're excited that we now have that option.
So the film is out for a bit longer. You premiered last year at Hot Dogs. So if somebody sees the film during the Human Rights Film Festival Berlin and wants to share it with their communities, they can just approach you through the Stand with Máxima campaign and show it in their community centers or somewhere else, right?
Yes, so right now we are licensing educational licenses. So if you're if you're a school, university, college, you can reach out to us. You can directly through the website just license the film. But if you want to have an actual screening to your community, you can write to us, and we're definitely open to organizing something. We obviously want to make sure that the film gets out there as much as possible and as many people all around the world can see it.
Perfect. So we recommend to stand with Máxima and show the film everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time. Have a lovely day in LA. You just started, we end here. See you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.